Hi everyone, and welcome back to Friday Night Family Fun. We are back after the summer reading program and a short break. I'm so excited to be here with you. Today we're going to talk about some of everyone's favorite books and do a fun craft that goes with it. So think to yourself, any of you out there fans of Raina Telgemeier? I bet just a few of you are. I know they're really popular in my library and at my house too. So I just want to share some books that she's written with you in case you haven't read them all yet, and then also share some other things you might like in case you have read all of hers. So you ready to get started? Okay. First one we're going to talk about is Sisters. Now Raina Telgemeier writes a lot of semi-autobiographical graphic novels, and what that means is there's stories that are somewhat made up but also somewhat based on her own life. And Sisters is one of those, because when she was a little girl, she wanted a little sister so bad, and then finally she got one. And wouldn't you know it, it wasn't quite what she thought it was going to be. Raina had dreamed of a playmate, her new best friend, and instead she got this grouchy, cranky child that would much rather tease her and pester her and then go play by herself. There were some other adventures along the way in this one, things that a lot of kids have to face, like, parents not getting along so well, the arrival of yet another sibling, living in a house that's too small. And what she finds along the way is you don't have to get along that well with your sister to still be really close and support each other in that. So that's Sisters by Raina. My favorite ones is also Smile, and she gets to be a little bit older here. This starts when she's in middle school. And have any of you ever tripped and fallen? I bet you have. I think everybody has done that. Well, she did that, only it got to be a much worse accident than that because she fell hard on the concrete, knocked one of her front teeth out, and the other one got pushed all the way up inside her jaw. And she spent the next 4 years getting surgeries, extractions, implants put in, more braces, headgear, braces a second time, a lot of things going on there. And so meanwhile, she's not liking how she looks. She's embarrassed. She thinks she looks like a freak. She's getting teased. So it's all about gaining her sense of self-confidence back, and a lot of pain she went through just to get her smile back. And the next book we're going to talk about is actually Raina's newest one, and that is called Guts. Came out just earlier this year. Now, Guts goes a little bit back in time again when she goes back to 4th grade and 5th grade, so about the same age as a lot of you watching this. And it starts with her just not feeling so good. Maybe she's got the flu, maybe it's food poisoning, we don't really know. But it just goes on. And what she figures out is she's so scared of throwing up that she can't eat the foods she likes to eat. She can't speak in front of her class because she's so nervous from the butterflies. She can't even hang out with some of her friends because if they start to cough and act like they're sick, she's so scared she's going to get sick, and that might make her throw up. So we've all had things we're afraid of. This is a wonderful story about how you face those fears and overcome them instead of letting them control your life. And that's Guts. Now, she doesn't just write about her own life, so now I get to share one of my absolute favorite books of all time, and that is Ghosts, perfect for this time of year. Now, in Ghosts, she is exploring two different girls who are moving up from sunny area to Northern California, where they are in the gloomiest, cloudiest town you've ever seen. Well, they do this because the younger sister has cystic fibrosis, and being in that climate makes it a little bit easier for her to breathe. Well, what the older sister, whose name is Katrina, realizes is there's also a lot of ghosts in town. Most of the residents don't mind having the ghosts there. In fact, they're treasured friends of theirs, but Katrina feels differently about it. She does not want those ghosts around. And deep down, it's because they remind her what might happen to her little sister, and that makes her feel so sad she doesn't even want to think about it. So this is all about how she comes to accept where they're at in their life and the changes, and embrace what life is bringing to them. It's a really wonderful book. It's called Ghosts. Now, if you've read all of her books and you want to try some different things, I have some other great novels to show you. Now, she has some involvement in this one with the Babysitter's Club. She started off illustrating an old series that was back from when I was a little kid, and she took them and put them in a graphic novel format, and then some other illustrators took up the torch from there. And so if you haven't tried those, you should give them a look. Another book you might really like is called Roller Girls by Victoria Jameson. Now, how many of you play sports of some kind? But a lot of you play soccer or basketball or football or volleyball. Has anyone ever tried roller derby though? That's what Astrid decides she wants to do. She signs up for a roller derby camp, but the problem is her best friend doesn't want to do it with her. So she has to figure out how to separate her interests but still be friends with her and to forge her own way and be a strong girl in more ways than one, both physically and mentally, and that's Roller Girl. Now I have to bring just a little bit of magic into it. If you don't know about Phoebe and Her Unicorn by Dana Simpson, you are in for a treat. One day, Phoebe is out walking and she meets her new magical best friend, whose name is Marigold Heavenly Nostrils. Well, Marigold's a unicorn, and Phoebe is, of course, a little girl, but they become the best of friends, and together they go on adventures where Marigold learns what it's like to be a little girl, and Phoebe learns what it's like to be a unicorn, and they compare their worlds, and this is the best friend you could possibly want. So those are all just a few other books that are all about awesome girls and in a graphic novel format that we just love to read. So before we go, I want to show you a really fun craft you can make that uses graphic novel pictures in them. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you how to make these really fun locker magnets that use pictures from graphic novels. This is what they look like when they're done. Now obviously these aren't Raina Telgemeier pictures. I didn't want to tear up our good book. So these actually came from an old Free Comic Book Day item. And let me show you how to make them. You're going to need a few supplies. The first thing you're going to need is, of course, a flattened marble just like that. This is a nice big one. They're available at craft stores like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, anywhere you want to go. You'll need a pencil, a pair of scissors, and the most important part is some clear glue. If you don't have clear glue, you can use Mod Podge, or you can take regular white glue and mix it up with some warm water, about 1 part glue and 1 part water. Any of those will work just fine for that. So here's how we do it. You need your pictures, of course. I chose this one because I like Wonder Woman quite a bit. So you're just going to find a good spot to put your picture, and here I saw that her face fits very nicely inside this one. So line up the marble, and then with the pencil, trace a circle around it, so you know exactly where to cut. Then you take your scissors, and this is why you don't want to use your good books for it. You're going to cut out your picture. And you can save the rest of your book for later then. Now you're going to take your glue, and you're going to, on the front side of the picture, you're going to put quite a bit of it on. Now this is going to obscure it a bit because this is special glue that goes on purple and dries clear. You can see I used quite a bit of it. And then line up the glass marble over it and squish it down. You want a nice good seal on that there. Now you're going to want to let it dry for quite some time. It does take several hours to really set well. And then when you're all done, I'll go back to one of my old ones, because it doesn't wiggle anymore. You can, if you'd like to, take a magnet and hot glue it onto the back, and then you can put these up wherever you want. And you can see they're actually really fun to make, so it makes the pictures look extra special, and you can, good way to highlight your favorite characters. So that is it for this week's session of Friday Night Family Fun. I'm so glad you decided to join us. We'll be back next week with Samantha showing us our newest Make Do Tell videos and activity kit. Make sure you go by any of the Kansas City Public Library branches and pick up the new kit so you can follow along. So thanks for joining us, and have a great night.